Hello, this is Robert Valenick with the Ask Rob video series from Brutal Iron Gym. So this is video number 5, and what we're going to talk about in video number 5 is a nutritional scheme that will allow you to actually lose weight, build muscle, and increase strength all at the same time. So it's basically everybody who comes into the gym, they always tell me, hey, how do I get leaner, bigger, and stronger? And I want to do it right now. Well, this is actually a nutritional scheme that I've used with myself and a lot of clients that will help you towards all 3 of those goals. Now, I will say right away that anytime you want more results, you have to put in more work. So this nutritional scheme does require a good bit of effort. You have to pay attention to the timing of your meals. You have to actually educate yourself on what are good foods versus the foods that would not accomplish our goals. And you have to start learning how to read nutrition labels so that way you're not overeating or undereating certain foods. So basically with this nutritional scheme, it is a glycogen-controlled diet, which means we're going to control our carbohydrate intake. Glycogen is a fancy word for stored carbohydrate in the muscles, and when your glycogen stores are low, when your muscles are not full of glycogen or stored carbs, it helps your body burn more body fat at that time. And then when your glycogen stores are full, that'll actually help you spare protein intake to increase muscle mass, and it'll actually help increase your performance. So I use this nutritional scheme either for performance or for muscle mass gains, or you can do a mixture of both. So whenever, basically this program is a hybrid of a lot of other programs that you might have come across. So some of the most noteworthy ones is Carb Backloading by John Kiefer, and you can go to his website. It's www.dangerouslyhardcore.com, and he has a book called Carb Backloading, which is designed to help you lose fat, increase muscle and strength at the same time. And also some other diets that I've read and kind of used parts of is the Renegade Diet, the Warrior Diet, and some other low-carb, fasting-based diets. So this diet scheme, what it does, it tries to simplify all of those, but not simplify it to where you don't get the same results. So we want to kind of break down and use the most important parts and kind of let the rest of it go. So this nutritional scheme is basically what you're going to do throughout the day is you're going to follow an ultra-low-carb diet. And how we define that is a carb intake of under 30 grams of carbs per day. That is ultra-low carb. So a general low-carb diet would be roughly 30 grams to 100 grams of carb intake per day. So these numbers might vary from person to person, but this is how I define them, and this is the terminology I use with my clients. So with this plan, our base scheme is an ultra-low carb diet. So again, it's falling under 30 grams of carbs per day. And this counts all carbohydrate intake, so all trace carbs. So if you take in something like, say, nuts, they'll have over 10 grams of fats in, say, like a 1-ounce serving or whatever the normal serving is of nuts. It'll have a certain amount of fats. It'll have a few carbohydrates and some protein. You would actually have to count up the grams of carbs from your nuts or from like a peanut butter product. You would add those up throughout the day along with some other foods you're eating, and you want to make sure the total does not go over 30 grams of carbs. So, and this actually includes fiber as well. So basically that's your basic scheme. So what that does, it requires you to take the most of your calories, well, pretty much all of your calories, from proteins and fats. So you want to focus on proteins. Some common ones are meats. So you can do chicken, turkey. You might be able to do some other fattier meats like ham or beef, depending on your body fat percentage. So the client I work with, if their body fat percentage is high or low, it will change the plan some. So that'll dictate which foods they get to eat. So in terms of fats, there's a lot of various types of fats. One that I use is peanut butter or nuts. So it can be cashews, almonds, any kind of nut product. And then also we'll use things like olive oil, maybe like coconut oil, and some other types of fats that are out there. You can also do fattier fish, like salmon. That'll give you some protein. That'll give you some fat intake as well. So basically you're going to focus on fats and proteins. And again, like which ones you get, whether sloppy versus non-sloppy, like say, can I have bacon? That kind of comes down to the person's individual preferences and their body fat percentage. So if someone's starting this plan a little bit on the chubby side, then we start it very strict in terms of the foods they can take in. If they're already relatively lean and they're looking to kind of maintain their body weight but just change the composition of it, where they're looking to slowly increase muscle while slowly decreasing fat, then they get to have a little more fun foods like bacon and butter and some other things like that. So, but that's the base plan, is an ultra low carb, under 30 grams of carbs per day diet. Now, where the carbohydrate intake comes into play is around your workouts. And we define workouts as any activity that causes significant muscle damage. So with the clients I work with, we basically relate this to resistance training. So when they train with weights. If they're doing a cardiovascular exercise, say somebody wants to they want to play like a game of basketball, they might go out and play some tennis, they might go for a jog. We do not base any kind of carbohydrate intake around that activity. If it does not cause significant muscle damage, we do not increase their carbohydrate around that part. So I will have them take in some whey protein powder before and after that activity to just help promote the kind of decrease the likelihood of them losing too much muscle tissue while performing that activity, so if it's an aerobic activity. But how we define workouts, again, just comes down to resistance training with weights. So on this nutritional scheme, there are terms backloading and there's also a term front-loading. And what that refers to is taking the carbohydrates, either the majority of them before the workout or the majority of them after the workout. And the difference is, if you front-load your carbohydrates, that's basically for performance. It'll allow the athlete or the client to perform better at their given activity. And if you backload the carbohydrates, that'll allow them to actually recover a little bit better. It'll actually promote muscle mass increase. So the plan I'm going to give you right now, it's mostly backloaded, but again, I would change this depending on whether the client was going for performance or strictly for muscle mass gains. So what we want to do is about 20 to 30 minutes before the workout, you want to intake some simple carbohydrates along with some whey protein. So simple carbohydrates, again, is a fancy word for sugar. So about 20-30 minutes before the workout, you want to intake about 50 grams of sugar with 50 grams of whey protein. And the sugar source that I tend to use is Gatorade powder. So it's a nice, clean, simple source. And I tend to stay away from high fructose corn syrup products. So I'd really just, that's not a preference. I'd rather use an actual sugar-based product. So I don't tend to take any fruit juices or anything like that. I prefer to take a Gatorade powder. And I have my clients do that as well, and they all have seen pretty good results doing that. So again, 20-30 minutes before the workout, 50 grams of sugar with 50 grams of whey protein. And then depending on a person's body fat composition, they will take another shake of that amount during the workout, 50 grams of sugar and 50 grams of whey. If they're a little overweight, we skip that one. If they're underweight and trying to fill up but not gain body fat, then we will go ahead and take that shake. And then also post-training, immediately after the training, or you can actually start drinking it towards the end of the workout, we'll take in another 50 grams of carbohydrates and another 50 grams of whey protein. So it's definitely a shake before and definitely a shake afterwards. And then depending on your conditioning level, you can take another shake in the middle. So I would start out with one before and one after and see how you feel from there. And then about an hour after the workout is when we take a carbohydrate meal that has complex or whole food sources of carbohydrates and protein. So the amount that you take in of carbohydrates differs whether you're working out the next day or if you're not working out the next day. So complex carbohydrates that we want to take in at this meal 1 hour post-training are slow digesting carbohydrates, something similar to potatoes, pasta, or rice, one of those nutrients. So one of those types of foods. So if a person is working out the next day, I have them take in roughly 200 to 250 grams of carbs, and that amount will change again depending on their body fat percentage. But it's roughly 200 to 250 grams of carbs, and then at the same time we take in 50 grams of protein from a whole food protein source. And again, that comes down to a lean meat, something like chicken, fish, seafood, or turkey breast. So the reason why is I do not want them to take in fats at this time. We keep the fat amount at this meal very low, and what that does, it allows the carbohydrates and the proteins to start being processed a little bit faster, and it'll allow that protein to go towards muscle growth a little bit quicker than if we were to mix in fats at that meal. So that's if you are working out the next day. It's 200 to 250 grams of carbs with 50 grams of protein. If a person is not working out the next day, I have them drop that amount down to either to around 100 grams of carbs or 150 grams of carbs, again with 50 grams of protein. So, and again, they'll choose a complex carbohydrate source such as potatoes, rice, or pasta. So what this does is this allows them to take in the carbs post-training to kind of fill up the glycogen stores a little bit. It's not really going to fill them back up completely. Actually, it definitely won't fill them back up completely. But what it does, it allows that protein to be used towards muscle mass growth. So again, this program, what it'll do is it'll allow you to lose a little bit of body fat. It'll allow you to increase the muscle mass around the workouts that you do this carbohydrate intake with. And then basically it's just a nice, easy program to follow to kind of get that fat loss, muscle gains, and strength increase program to kind of all combine together. So again, that's kind of the real quick breakdown. And underneath this video on YouTube, and on all the videos, I do a little bit of a summary in the description area. So I'll go ahead and include a summary that has all the values that I gave you in terms of the grams of carbs and grams of protein. So with this nutritional scheme, like I said, it's an ultra low carb, under 30 grams of carbs per day. And then around your workout times, we do carbs and proteins before, possibly during, definitely after, and then we have a meal, a 1-hour meal post-training with carbohydrate intake. So this is a very good base program to start with. The clients that I work with, we always have to make changes and make tweaks to this amount, to these numbers that I gave you, depending on the person's preferences. Again, whether they're going more for performance-based or if they're going purely for muscle mass growth. It also depends on the person's metabolism. If they have a faster metabolism, they can get away with more carbohydrates. If they have a higher percentage of body fat and a slower metabolism, we might have to actually taper this amount down. So it kind of depends on the person's preferences and what their body's needs are. So, but this program I just gave you in this video will be a good place to start from. If you have any questions, go ahead and contact me at www.brutalirongym.com, or you can visit us on Facebook and just search for Brutal Iron Gym on Facebook. So again, hopefully you guys are finding these videos helpful. I am getting a lot of feedback actually, which is really nice. I do appreciate people taking the time to email me and to contact me to tell me about the videos. So I'm glad a lot of you are finding the videos helpful. So again, hopefully you like the information, start putting it to use, and let me know. If you do put some of this information to use and you get great results, please contact me. It makes me feel good to know that people are getting something from the information. Okay, have a good day. Thank you.